Hello, everybody. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to think at a higher level. So let's get into it. What are you going to learn? First of all, you're going to learn how your thoughts work and how to look at your thoughts objectively. Secondly, you're going to learn how the quality of your thoughts affects your life and ultimately your business. Plus, everything around your business, like how to make money, like the kind of clients you work with, the results your client gets. Essentially, you're going to learn about how your thoughts and your mind affect the results in your life. And lastly, you're going to learn how to identify low value thoughts and how to create high value thoughts instead. So first of all, I want you to remember your thoughts are literally just sentences in your brain. When I first learned this concept, I was literally like that mind exploding emoji. I was like, because it's so freaking true. Your thoughts are literally just sentences in your brain. They are not true or fact, nor do you have to actually listen to them. See, your brain's job is to produce thoughts, just like the job of your heart, like the heart as an organ. Its job is to take oxygen and to pump it so that your body gets an even distribution of oxygen so that you can survive. Your heart has a specific function, and its primary function is to pump that oxygen through your system. There's a lot of other things it does, but this is its primary design. So in the same way, your brain, its primary function is to think thoughts, right? And your brain thinks all of these thoughts, millions and millions of sentences all the time, every single second, based on a lot of things that you've gone through, a lot of experiences that you've had, a lot of historical evidence, a lot of emotions that you've felt, and it filters through all of these things, and then it categorizes them into buckets to help you know how to move forward, to help you survive. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But essentially what I want you to understand here is how your thoughts work so that you don't fall into the trap of believing everything you are thinking to be true. So, like I said, your brain's job is to produce thoughts, and then your mind places it into buckets. And this is where you and I get to choose. You and I get to choose where these thoughts go. For a lot of us, we operate in this level where we do not think about our thoughts. We just go through life and our thoughts are in control of us. It's actually scientifically proven that majority of us spend like 98% of our life. 98 might be too much, but like top 90% around there, living our lives in the subconscious, in like the patterns and like just on autopilot. But where you and I want to get to, if you want to create certain results in your life, if you want to fast forward your results in your business, you're going to need to learn how to use your thoughts to your advantage rather than letting your thoughts get the best of you or slow you down from getting your results. Now, your brain will think thoughts in response to stimulus. All right. So again, I'm not scientific in any way, so I don't have all the fancy words, but this is how I'm going to do it so you guys can understand it. And I hope your brain works like mine in pictures. So your stimulus of a lion, if you see a lion, your brain is going to react. It's going to have thoughts, going to have sentences come up. And then that's going to trigger certain emotions based on what your thoughts are. So if your thought is, gee, that lion looks like it's going to eat me, it's going to run, and I'm going to die. If these are your thoughts, then what you're going to feel is panic, stress, anxiety, fear, right? And then you're going to want to run. You're going to close the door. You're going to like get as far as possible. You're going to look for an exit, right? These are the actions you're going to take. Now, if your thought, notice this, if your thought to this particular stimulus is, that is such a friendly looking lion. All lions are gentle. I want to touch that lion. If that's your thought, what kind of actions are you going to take then? Right? You're not going to be running away or hiding or exiting. If your thought is this is a friendly lion, let's say the person holding the lion is like, he's a friendly lion. He doesn't have any teeth. You can pet him, right? Your thoughts are going to be different. And therefore, the actions you're going to take are going to be different. You're going to place mentally with your mind, you're going to place these sentences in your brain into different buckets. And they're going to fall into these different buckets that are going to affect the actions you're going to take. So, one last example is if you see people talking, like whispering, right? Let's say you're at a party and you don't know anybody. I have had this exact same thing happen to me. And it was like the craziest experience. Well, maybe not the craziest, but like that's exaggerating. But look, I was feeling really self-conscious about my face because over the Christmas break, I swam into a wall because I had my eyes closed. Don't ask me why. I had contacts in. I just decided to swim with my eyes closed and I swam straight into a concrete wall in the pool. And my nose was like completely scabbed. It was like red and I couldn't even put makeup on it because it was a fresh wound. And so I went to this party and I just felt like everybody was looking at this thing on my face. And I just felt like it was the center of attention. I couldn't get myself out of it. I couldn't stop feeling embarrassed and I just couldn't even talk to people. And so I walk into that room and I see people talking and laughing. Now, my thought is everybody is looking at my face and they all think it's horrible and disgusting. People think I'm weird because I have this on my face. These are my thoughts, right? And so when I see people talking and laughing, they have like no interest in me whatsoever. They haven't even seen me, let alone they don't even know I have something on my face. But the way I interpret that is they are laughing at me and therefore I am like not accepted. I'm not likable. And it plays a part in making me feel embarrassed or ashamed, or it just makes me feel like I have less self-confidence, right? And so I want you to pick up here that there is a pattern. Our brain will respond to stimulus all the time, but depending on the thoughts you are thinking, your actions will be different. So when your stimulus is something neutral, and more often than not, it is literally all circumstances, all things like people talking and laughing are just stimulus. Even money. Money is just stimulus. A number, a dollar amount is just stimulus. It's all neutral. Okay. And your brain has certain preconceptions, certain ideas, certain experiences that affect how you perceive that. And then it affects the thoughts you produce and therefore the feelings you create inside your body and therefore the actions and ultimately the results that you're going to create. So here's the thing, right? Your primitive brain, which is millions and millions of years old, it is not designed to make you happy. It only has one function, and it's not to make you happy. It's not to make you feel good or to feel comfortable. Your primitive brain, the one that had to fight off lions and bears and find a way to survive, its primary function to this day, decades later, centuries later, is to still help you survive. Even though you are no longer fending off lions and bears and finding something to eat, finding how you're going to survive, like even though it is a different time and a different reality, its primitive function is still there. And that's why it is so important to know and to recognize your brain and like what it is doing so that you can use it to help yourself create the results you want. So remember the buckets. We've got 3 buckets here. We've got the fight bucket, we got the flight bucket, and we got the freeze bucket. Maybe bucket's not the right term, but like think of it as like a funnel or a tube, right? And your reaction is going to be dependent on which tube your mind puts these things to, right? So when you are on autopilot, when you're not thinking about your thoughts or when you're not managing your mind, what often happens is you go into this on autopilot. So you'll see someone, like you'll hear something that someone says, like for example, a person says, coaches are so annoying. And you will have a thought about that. And you will either want to fight, flight, or freeze up. These 3 reactions are going to be based on your thoughts. Okay. And these instincts, fight, flight, freeze, they're very primitive. They're something that we all will naturally do no matter what. So when you see a lion, you're going to either fight it, you're going to try to attack it, or you're going to try to flee, you're going to try to like run away from the situation, or you're going to want to freeze. And this is when you get this overwhelming sense of like, I don't know what to do. You clam up and you just freeze, right? This happens to us all the time in everyday scenarios, in very obvious ways, and sometimes in very minuscule ways, and we don't even know. But this is what's always happening in our brain. So let's go back to that example of money. Remember what I said, money is neutral. You're going to learn a lot more about this in the money mindset trainings, but hang in there. We're just going to go with this example for now. A lot of you guys have a lot of thoughts around $2,000. When I say the words $2,000, you will have a thought. Let's pair it up with coaching. $2,000 for coaching. You're charging $2,000 for coaching. Some of you guys will think that's expensive. That's too much. Some of you guys will think that's so cheap. That's so affordable, right? You are going to have a response to this, and it's going to be informed by your experiences and your context and your worldview. If you have, let's say, not had any money, or you've never really dealt with much money, or you've never made $2,000 or sold $2,000 of coaching, you're probably going to be thinking $2,000 is a lot of money. I cannot possibly charge for that. Nobody's going to pay me $2,000. That's so much. But if you have sold $2,000 of coaching before, or you've paid someone $2,000 of coaching, you're probably going to be like, that's so affordable. I've paid more. I've paid triple that, right? But your response to $2,000 is just a sentence in your brain. Okay, I hope this is helping you to understand that everything is neutral, even the price points, even the niche, like the drama that you're having in your mind are just responses that your brain is having. It is not fact, nor is it true. If a person says 2,000 is expensive and another person says it's not, there's no real way of saying it's true or false, right? So it's all subjective. So here's the thing, we're going to go into the primary human fears and what drives us humans. And the point of this is to help you understand that there are drivers to everything you are doing, everything you are experiencing, everything that your brain perceives to be a threat to survival and safety is going to come from these two fears. Number one, it's that I am not enough. And number two, it kind of goes with the first one, is therefore I am not worthy of love. I am not enough, therefore I am not worthy of love. Now, why does this matter to you? Why does it matter to your business? Because if you want to make lots of money, if you want to grow your coaching business, if you want to go out and be an entrepreneur and create original ideas, you're going to need to overcome both of these fears. So an example is, for a lot of coaches, this shows up as when no one wants to work with me, or when clients aren't coming, I am not a good enough coach, or I'm not capable of making money, right? This scarcity, I am not enough, is essentially you making whatever the circumstances are around you, like not having money, not being able to sell coaching, not having consults booked, no one liking your posts. You've made these circumstances mean something about you. And at that level, your brain has started to internalize it and to believe it. When you start to believe something, that's when it becomes a part of your identity. And it begins to drive everything that you do, everything that you think. So it's like this little cycle, right? So I see this a lot in coaches who are saying, I am not enough because no one wants to hire me. No one wants to pay me, right? Another way that this shows up, I'm not worthy of love, is when, let's say, a client or a consult is booked in, but then they ghost, right? And maybe you struggle with that feeling of rejection, right? There we go again. Somebody rejected me. Somebody didn't show up to the consult. Therefore, I'm not worthy of love. Because when I was a kid, my parents never showed up to my soccer games, right? This rejection or this scarcity, this feeling of not enoughness, this unworthiness of receiving love, all of these thoughts and these primary fears are really coming from experiences that we've had in childhood. Well, they were initiated then and they were affirmed then. And when we have these traumatic experiences, it doesn't even have to be like large and like life-changing experiences. It could just literally be that like maybe your parent left you in the shopping mall or something, and it created a sense of unease and not feeling safe, not feeling loved, not feeling valued. Like it could even just be little things. These are built up and your brain stores them as memories, and because there's a lot of emotion around these memories, you tend to recall them a lot more vividly. So why am I sharing with you the two primary human fears? Because these are the same fears that you have and every other person has. All of your clients, all of the people you're going to do consults with, they all have these fears too. And so when you can understand them, you can understand how to harness your thoughts to help you feel loved, to help you feel valued, and to help you feel safe. And I'm going to tell you why that matters to making money and to growing your business successfully. Okay. But firstly, we're going to talk about core beliefs because, like I said, these thoughts are initially just sentences in our brain, and then we have feelings about them, and then we have reactions and we take actions responding to the way that we're thinking and feeling. But what makes a core belief? A core belief is when you've internalized it. It's these thoughts and narratives that have been unintentionally or intentionally created, whether in childhood. Actually, we're always affirming our narratives, right? Every single day, every single moment we're alive and conscious, we're affirming a certain narrative in our mind. So it creates a sense of self-concept and a sense of our reality. This is the way we perceive the world, right? If your thought, you're always thinking it has to be perfect, typically that core belief that roots that is I'm not good enough when I don't get things perfect. Because if you find an experience to back that up, early memory might be in your childhood, you didn't get something right and you got yelled at, or your parents didn't like acknowledge you for it, whatever it is. Over time, your brain has associated anytime you haven't gotten things perfect, then I will disappoint my parents and therefore I am not enough, therefore I'm not loved. Okay, so why is this important? Once again, because this is the lens through which you're going to view the world. This is the lens through which you view your prospects and the people you're trying to sell to, the clients you're going to want to work with. This is the exact filter, like literal goggles that you're wearing right now in this moment. So there's stimulus all around you, but you are having responses to it, but it's because of everything you have told yourself or that you believed, the narratives, right? So this is why it's so important to learn how to manage your mind and your thoughts. And this is why we're teaching you this early on in this program, because you're going to come up against a lot of things that are going to tell you things that you don't actually believe yet. I'm going to tell you that you're capable of making money. You're capable of making $10,000, $100,000 selling coaching. People want to work with you. People are coming and they want to hire you as their coach. I'm going to tell you all of these things, and you're going to need to know how to manage your brain so that you can actually believe them and then go and do the action that's going to help you create the result. All right. So, how do you look at your thoughts objectively? So, as you know, we talked about our thoughts being sentences in our brain. Now, to help you grasp this, I have like a little imagery that I want to show you. Think of a bus stop and think of how you see like a bus stop has multiple buses coming to that stop. Okay. That bus stop is always going to be having these buses pass through, and it is up to you whether you can hop on the bus or you stay off the bus. So if you're looking for bus 626 and bus 620 comes by, you're not going to get on it because it is not your bus. I want you to think of your brain like this bus stop. You are constantly producing thoughts, and you don't have to get on any of the thoughts. You don't have to believe any of the thoughts. You can just let them happen and just understand that, like, this is a bus stop. Buses come and buses go. This is the function of this bus stop. All right. Now, when you decide to think a helpful thought, that's when you get on the bus. Or when you decide to choose any thought, that's when you've gotten on the bus. For example, you're thinking to yourself, I need to be perfect. Otherwise, it's not good enough, right? When that bus arrives and you get on it, you're going to go for the ride. You're going to go wherever it takes you. You are now under the control or the power of that thought. And that thought, as we identified earlier, has certain emotions that come with it. It has certain actions that you're going to take because of it, and certain results that are going to be produced because you're thinking it. So here's why I want to share this example with you. It's to help you understand that if you just allow your brain to think thoughts and let the buses pass, and you recognize that it is within your power, in your mind, to choose what thoughts and to allow others to pass, then you're going to feel in control of your life today. You're going to feel in control of the amount of money you can make in your business in this lifetime almost instantly, right? Because nobody else, no other circumstance can determine that for you. Your mind does. So here's how to look at your thoughts objectively. Number one, you're going to allow your brain to think those thoughts and recognize that they are just responses to stimulus. Number two, you're going to observe the thoughts that pass and what they're indicating. Number three, you're going to choose the thoughts that are most helpful to you. And number four, you're going to let the rest of your thoughts exist without judging them or becoming attached to them. Okay, so a good example is if your brain's response to charging $2,000 for coaching is, oh my gosh, what the heck, nobody's going to want to pay me, that's too much money, then what you want to do is not attach to that or make that mean something about you straight away. You're going to like practice standing outside of your own brain and like observing the thoughts. It might help to even like write it down. And I encourage you to do this every single morning for the next 30 days. Literally write down a thought or like a circumstance, like selling coaching for $2,000 or not getting any likes on your post. Write down a circumstance that you're having a reaction to. Write down every single thought that you're having about it. And then underneath each of those thoughts, like do a bubble of like separate into bubbles what thoughts are most helpful to you. So you might be thinking $2,000 is too much money, but then the other part of your brain is like, oh, but like, I know some people can afford that. Or another part of you might be like, I've paid $2,000 for coaching before. What makes me think no one will pay me $2,000 of coaching? Just write down all the thoughts and then choose the ones that are helpful and like circle those ones. And then just like notice what those thoughts feel like in your body. Notice how it makes you feel. And then just keep those thoughts, like eliminate the rest. Let the rest of the thoughts exist and don't judge yourself for even having the thoughts. I find that for a lot of coaches, especially newer ones, because you understand how thought work works and you're starting to understand like what self-coaching is, you can use your thoughts against you and you can use this work against you as well. But that is not the point. The point is to punish yourself or to make yourself guilty or wrong. I find myself doing it all the time. I make myself wrong or I judge myself for feeling a certain way. But that is not the point. The work is being able to just be completely neutral from your thoughts and just observe them and then learn from them. You might even want to explore Like, let's say you find one of your thoughts is, no one will want to pay me $2,000. Like, get genuinely curious and like find out, why do you believe that no one wants to pay you $2,000? Is it true? Or is it just an opinion that you're having? Where might it be coming from? What would it be like if you just like chose not to have this thought? What if you believe like people actually want to pay you and there's no way people won't want to pay you? What would that be like? What are you missing out on by thinking this thought? Right? So you can also do this activity and like explore your thoughts. And I've attached a worksheet for you guys so you can do that to prompt you. But otherwise, just like take a massive piece of paper and just like do it all in there, right? And do this every single day. It's going to help you a lot. So now identifying the quality of your thoughts. So you've probably noticed like there are different levels of quality that your thoughts fall into. There's low quality thoughts and then there's high quality thoughts. So high quality thoughts, they allow you to operate from your highest level of self. They cause you to typically feel positive emotions, but just because they're positive emotions doesn't necessarily always feel comfortable. So a good example is bravery or feeling courageous. That doesn't necessarily always feel good. It can feel like butterflies. It can feel like a pit in your stomach, or like your stomach all curled up. Like, that doesn't necessarily feel good physically or comfortable physically, but you know it's a high quality thought when it causes you to feel positive emotions. And often your high quality thoughts will produce high quality results, or results that are desirable to you. They're high quality thoughts, and therefore they also have to be produced by high quality beliefs. So you cannot produce like thoughts that are of a high quality if you don't have beliefs or a belief system that is of a high quality. Like a low quality thought is the complete opposite of that. Whoops. It leads you to freeze up, clam up, or run. It's that fight, flight, freeze. Low quality thoughts tend to put you in your primitive state of survival because they cause you to feel unsafe. So they produce these emotions. I don't even want to call them negative emotions. Like, they produce certain emotions that lead you to become unproductive, or they hinder your growth in a certain way. They basically like stop your progress. And often low quality thoughts are created when you're in fear or you are in doubt. Okay. Okay, so this is an analogy that I got from Tony Robbins. So I just want to acknowledge him. Essentially, I want you to imagine a table. Now, this table has like a tabletop and then it has legs, right? Now, I want you to think about your beliefs. Your beliefs, your internalized truths, the lens through which you look at life. This has legs. It has multiple legs. And the legs on which it stands on are the pieces of evidence that you have to affirm that that belief is true. So when you take that example of no one wants to pay me $2,000, no one's ever going to pay me $2,000, that's a belief that you have. It's typically going to be strengthened by experiences such as maybe the first consult you ever did said no. That's one leg supporting that belief. And then you have maybe a friend in passing says $2,000, that's a lot of money. And your brain interpreted it as, well, nobody wants to pay me $2,000 for coaching. Nobody will pay me. And so even though your friend didn't say that, your brain's like, yep, that'll do. It like takes it, it puts it there. And then you'll find that maybe one day you tell your partner and your partner's like, that's so expensive. I wouldn't pay $2,000 for a coaching, right? Like somebody that you care about says it. And then you talk to somebody in the forum and they tell you, I could never pay $2,000 for coaching, right? Like, I know it's not creative, but like there are so many different ways that your brain can experience certain things but have this belief, and your brain just like finds ways to use those experiences to support this belief, even if it wasn't direct. But that's what your brain does, right? Its primary job is to help you survive. And so if your thought pattern and your belief is nobody wants to pay me $2,000, then technically that's safe for your brain. So your brain's going to find evidence to support that belief because it makes you feel safe. It makes you not get uncomfortable, right? So here's the thing. When you think at a high level, you experience life in higher quality. It's like having like HDR glasses, right? Versus like, I don't even know, but like just low resolution glasses, right? Or having a prescription that's like way out of date and is so blurry. That when you think at a high level, you elevate the experience that you have in life. And I want to say this to you because you may not have made lots of money yet. You may have very little to your name, to your business. You may have the crappiest life experience to date. And you may have been rejected 1,000 times, right? You may have very little resources, no money, no followers, like nothing. But even if your circumstances are like this, even if you have all of the disadvantages, when you can think at a higher level, you get to experience life at a higher level too. Meaning you're not going to look at your disadvantages and be like, oh, this sucks, I could never do it. You're not going to pity yourself. When you think at a higher level, you're going to see all of this as opportunity. You're going to see it as resources to work with to create results. This is why people who literally start in the same place can end up in 2 different places. This is why people, even with less resources and less advantage, can achieve even greater things than the people who have all of the things. This is because the way you think drives your life, and it drives the results you're going to create. Remember, if the primary function of your brain is to feel safe, you must learn to create your own safety by thinking, not relying on your circumstances. You are at your best when you are in this state of safety. Okay? I want you to think about that. Notice when you are feeling peace, when you're with your loved ones, or when you're with your best friends laughing, when you're switched off on the weekend, when you're on holidays. Often that's when your most creative ideas come. I did a whole episode on how my most like genius and brilliant ideas come to me in the shower. Like, go listen to it. It's on the podcast. But this is because you're not in panic, right? If a lion is running at you, you're not going to be like, oh, I wonder what shade the sky is, what color that blue is, right? Like, you're just not going to be thinking creatively. You're going to be thinking, run, freeze, right? So this is why you must work on your mind to create that safety, because that's when you can create your most brilliant ideas. Whether it's content, whether it's selling, even before your consults, a lot of you guys freeze up, or you don't know what to say, or you just lose all social cues and you just don't know what to do in a sales call, and you panic and you're just like not yourself. You don't know how to connect because you are not feeling safe. And remember, as a human being, your optimal state is when you are in that state of safety. So I want to end with this. Your results will always be in sync with your thoughts. Okay? If there is a result you want, if you want to make X amount of money, you want to sign X amount of clients, you want to coach X amount of people, remember that it all begins in your thoughts. This module and this lesson is everything. If there is anything you take away from this program, it's this. If you want to accelerate your life, your business, your growth, and the amount of money you can make as a coach, you need to begin with changing the way you think. And that is the work of coaching. If you can change the way you think, you can change your reality. All right, guys, I'll catch you inside the next training.